It's really hard for us to relate to or to understand the magnitude of the impact that the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash had on the Jewish people of the time. For us, having never experienced the glory or the magnificence of the Holy Temple of the Beis HaMikdash, so we don't really realize how much we're missing, how much is lacking in its absence. But the Gemara in Bava Basra, Daf Samach Amud Beis, page 60b, relates that upon the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash, there was a group of individuals who were so devastated that they could no longer go about their lives in normal fashion. The Gemara tells us they stopped eating meat, they stopped drinking wine, they even stopped consuming fruits, because these were all items that played significant roles in various aspects of the avodah, of the service that was performed in the Beis HaMikdash. And for these individuals, having those items as part of their lives, knowing that the Beis HaMikdash was no longer standing, was too much for them to bear. It was too difficult for them. And the Gemara says, yes, it's true. In response to something so tragic, something as bad as the Beis HaMikdash's destruction, of course that has to impact us. We can't ignore it. But at the same time, such extreme expressions of mourning, taking such drastic measures, is also not necessarily the healthiest or most appropriate response. Because, says the Gemara, for the average individual, that's just too much to expect. We can't expect the regular average individual to totally change their lives in such a drastic manner, even in response to something as bad as the destruction of Beis HaMikdash. But perhaps there's an additional layer of meaning here, an additional message that we can glean from this comment in the Gemara. Because there's another concern when it comes to expressing ourselves in such drastic ways in showing our mourning and our sadness. And that is, by highlighting that, we're emphasizing and we're focusing way too much on what we're missing, on what's lacking in the world, on the negative. And while yes, we're missing a lot, we have to realize we can't lose sight of all that we still have. We have to look out into the world and see that there's a world full of opportunity, abundance of opportunity and potential for mitzvah performance, for Torah learning to grow both personally and as communities. And yes, the 3 weeks is a time for sadness, a time to reflect on the loss that our nation has endured. But it's also a time to inspire ourselves to look out and see a world full of potential for growth in Avodas Hashem that we can do as individuals and as communities. And in so doing, Emir Hashem pave the path for the Mashiach and the rebuilding of the Beis HaMikdash b'meir b'yameinu. Have a meaningful day.